Hey guys, the Langbanger. Conclusion to my March 2013 ban list prediction slash wants series, I suppose. Now, what I did, I posted a video talking about each section of the ban list: banned, limited, semi limited, and unrestricted. This is the banned video. Please, before freaking out, going crazy, going psycho, because there have been a lot of comments on the past videos, please look at all four videos total and then make whatever comments that you want to, just because like if someone looks at one section of the ban list, they may just like freak out and say, oh well, what about this, you didn't hit this stack, this stack's going to be powerful. Well, look at everything and then make your assumptions. Anyways, ban list section. Now, the first card that I have banned here is Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. Now, I personally have always wanted this card gone. Now, yeah, I'm not being biased whatsoever because I absolutely love Chaos Dragons, but the way that I see the game of Yu-Gi-Oh going is there's so many cards that you can just top deck and either get out of a situation like really, really easily, or you can just put your opponent so far behind it's just unreal, unfair. So what I did with my ban list, I wanted to get rid of all those cards that you can pretty much top deck and it'll just totally switch the game around. Now there's some cards that I'm okay with, but then there aren't some. Now Blackluster Soldier, it's just one of those cards to where you rip it, you can either remove something crucial from the board or you can get rid of two monsters. I just think that's too powerful of a top deck. Now what I did, I put Chaos Sorcerer back to 2, Blackluster Soldier banned. I feel like that's a better ratio than 1 and 1, just because, as I said, Blackluster Soldier, it has 2 effects, so it's sort of like, a toolbox in a way, I suppose. But I look at Chaos Sorcerer and I say, okay, well, people still want guys that they can, summon via removing stuff from their yard. But at the same time, at least Chaos Sorcerer says, you activate the effect, it can't attack. That's fine. I mean, Blackluster has that too, but also has a double attacker. So I just feel like this card is just way too powerful, and it's better to just go simpler. Hopefully that made sense. The next card, Dark Hole. Now, I was debating on even touching this, but as I said, I want to get rid of all those cards that are just complete powerhouses when you rep it. Now, yes, Dark Hole can actually save you, and it's not like that bad. The only way Dark Hole is really bad is if someone plays Hole and then, they just summon Tour Guide and just go to town. But I just feel like, in general, the card is too powerful. And with my list, I hit all of the problem decks. I hit all of the problem cards. So I feel like there's not going to be that many top decks. There's going to be longer games, longer duels. Some matches may go to 3 games instead of like 2 if we had our previous list still. That was just my mindset. Now, as I said, I was debating on actually touching this, but I just feel like it needs to go again. And just to bring up this point, I also put Pot of Duality at 3, just because I feel like it's a really balanced card. You play the card, you can't special for the turn. Okay, that's fine, because Pot of Duality, it's only as good as what you can grab. So, with the cards you're about to see, I'm hitting all these powerhouse cards. Pot of Duality is not anything anymore. I feel like Pot of Duality is a good card for the game because it's shutting off special summons for the turn, and I just feel like it's a healthier game. Monster Reborn, once again, another card that you can just rip right off the top. It's completely unfair, unbalanced. Now, I'm totally fine with resurrection cards, but the thing is, we have Call of the Haunted. Call of Haunted is at 3. It also only targets a card in your graveyard as opposed to your opponent's. So, everyone knows how many games this card just steals, and I just feel like eventually it has to go. So, pretty simple there. And the last card I have is Pot of Avarice. So, yes, I did hit 3 spells, banned, 0 per deck. Pot of Avarice has been a problem card for formats upon formats. I believe even since Monarchs back in the day, like Apprentice Monarchs and, Frog Monarchs. This card is so good. I mean, it would be one thing if you could maybe just draw one off it, because then it's like, okay, well, put some monsters back, draw a card. So it's a 1-for-1 trade-off, and then, you're putting some decent cards back in the deck. But now, with how the game has evolved, even if it was still just drawing one, I feel like that would still even be too powerful, because there's so many powerful monsters out there in the game, and we're just going to keep getting dumber ones. So I just feel like this card eventually has to go. So hopefully my reasoning, kind of made sense to you guys. Everyone thinks differently, and I wanted to make a really good point and say that there's a lot of cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That you could consider, banning. But the whole thing is, as long as I can remember, I believe the most cards that we ever had banned at one time is 4. So that's why I decided to stick around with those 4 cards. I mean, I personally, I wouldn't mind seeing Heavy Storm going, under the right circumstances, that is. That's a really iffy card, but if that card went, I could kind of understand. Sangan could finally go, Tour Guide could finally go, Rabbit could go, maybe Logia, and then, it's just those in general cards that have always been a problem, but they just haven't been tier 1, and that's cards like Card Destruction, Limiter Removal, those sort of cards. I can go on and on with cards that, could get banned, but pretty much what I was doing, I was touching cards that you just see in the meta right now, because I feel like, okay, all these decks and cards that are used, but they're not like the highest meta or the highest tier. I just feel like by touching all these big decks, then it'll be an even playing field. So all the decks that are playable currently, they will still be playable for the most part. And then we will also have all those tier 2, tier 3 decks being able to compete, because they were pretty much untouched for the most part. So that was my goal. I want to create diversity in this game. I want to make sure that the game can actually last longer. And just by looking at all 4 of these cards, I mean, just ripping any of them can just end games like nothing. And I just feel like that's really unfair, because I feel like there should actually be a thought process in the game. There's just so many cards right now to where the second you draw it, you play it. I mean, Rabbit, Blackluster, Dark Hole, Reborn, Avarice, Heavy. I mean, the list can go on. People just play it automatically. You don't even have to think of circumstances, and, it wins you the game. So, if at least half of these get banned, I will be happy. In general, if some of my ban list predictions happen, then, I'll be fairly content. But the whole problem is, with more product releases and just, pack releases, tin releases, whatever, the more cards that we get, the more broken cards could become. So you have all these sort of cards like Card Destruction, Limiter Removal. They're just sitting around lurking, and it's like, okay, the card is at 1 for good reason. It's not doing anything right now, but all it takes is one of those future releases, and it's just going to go absolutely bonkers. So I personally would ban at least 15 cards, if not 20, just to totally give this game a total refresher. I feel like that's what the game needs, because just by touching, let's say, 4 cards banning, and then limiting like 5 or 6, okay, that's fine. You're leaving all these cards go, and I'm not saying to just like hit, all the stuff that you see being used, but it's a matter of like, you can purely read a card and say, this card is going to be trouble one day, and, just future releases, and, it just automatically enhances it. So I don't really know. I mean, they very well could fix this current format, but then, as I said, a future product release could just totally make another deck playable. So I guess we'll see. Also, people were wondering why I did these videos so early. Well, the simple answer is there's actually one more ban list, or there's one more event before the new ban list, and the thing is, it's YCS Miami, which I will be at. So if you figure that's like February 17th, they're not going to make the ban list that late. I mean, odds are they probably even have the ban list made right now. I mean, I would actually bet money on that. If not now, maybe like a week or two from now. So, Miami actually will not have an effect on the ban list. That's something that you guys have to keep in mind. So that's why I decided to do my videos now. That way I can give you guys some time to, comment, talk to each other, debate, whatever. So that's all I have for you. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think of my ban list overall. Did I hit a deck too hard? Should I have hit a deck harder? Is there any ban cards you want to see come back? How many cards would you like to see banned? And, just any questions or thoughts you can think of, and I'll try my best to reply to you. Thanks, guys. Peace.